Hello everyone, welcome to Easy English for Everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like and share to receive the latest videos. Now let's study together.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a story about a very fun adventure, a day at the park. Many people enjoy spending time outdoors, playing games, and relaxing with friends. Our story is about three friends named Sarah, Tom, and Lily. They lived in a small town with quiet streets and friendly neighbors. Life was simple, but these three friends always found ways to have fun. One sunny morning, Sarah, Tom, and Lily decided to visit the local park. The park was big, with green grass, tall trees, and a sparkling pond. There were playgrounds, picnic tables, and trails to explore. As they packed their snacks and games, their hearts started to beat faster. What surprises would they find at the park? Would they meet new friends, face a challenge, or discover something exciting? Let's find out about Sarah, Tom, and Lily's adventure. We will read their story in chapters. Each chapter will be short and easy to understand. We will learn new words and see how the friends work together, solve problems, and have fun along the way. Are you ready? Let's discover. Chapter 1. A Day at the Park. One sunny morning, Sarah, Tom, and Lily decided to spend the day at the local park. They were best friends and always looked forward to their adventures together. Sarah was known for her creativity, Tom for his jokes, and Lily for her kindness. They met at Sarah's house, each carrying a backpack filled with snacks, water bottles, and a frisbee. Ready for a fun day? Sarah asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Absolutely, Tom replied, already cracking a joke. I heard the park has a new attraction, a giant pizza slide. Lily laughed, her cheeks turning pink. Tom, you always make me laugh. But I think we'll stick to the swings and the sandbox. The trio walked to the park, chatting and giggling along the way. The park was bustling with families and children, and the air was filled with the sounds of laughter and the scent of fresh grass. They found a spot under a large oak tree and set up their picnic blanket. Who wants to play frisbee first? Tom asked, already twirling the frisbee in his hand. I'll go, Sarah said, jumping up. Lily, you can throw to me. Lily nodded and threw the frisbee with all her might. It sailed through the air and landed right in Sarah's hands. They played for a while, their laughter echoing across the park. After a game of frisbee, they decided to explore the playground. The swings were their favorite. Sarah and Tom competed to see who could swing the highest, while Lily watched and cheered them on. The competition was fierce, but in the end, Sarah won by just a little bit. Looks like I'm the queen of the swings, Sarah declared, laughing. Next time, I'll beat you, Tom promised, his face red from the effort. Lily clapped her hands. You both did great. Now, let's go to the sandbox and build a castle. They spent the next hour building a sandcastle, using sticks and leaves to decorate it. Sarah found a shiny rock and placed it at the top, making it look like a treasure. Tom pretended to be a knight, defending the castle from imaginary dragons, while Lily gathered more sand to make it bigger. Their laughter and creativity filled the air, and soon, other children joined in, adding their own ideas to the castle. The park became a place of joy and friendship, and the day flew by in a blur of fun and adventure. As the sun began to set, they sat back on their picnic blanket, tired but happy. Sarah pulled out a bag of cookies and passed them around. Thanks for the best day ever, Lily said, munching on a cookie. Anytime, my friends, Tom replied, his mouth full. We should do this more often. Sarah smiled, looking at her friends. Definitely. Let's plan our next adventure soon. The three friends sat under the oak tree, enjoying the last rays of sunlight, feeling grateful for the simple joys of life and the strong bond they shared. Chapter 2. The Mystery of the Lost Puppy. After a delightful day at the park, Sarah, Tom, and Lily decided to explore a new area of their neighborhood. They had heard rumors of a hidden path that led to a beautiful, secluded garden. Excited by the prospect of a new adventure, they set off early the next morning, each carrying a map and a small backpack with snacks and water. As they walked, the sun was just beginning to rise, casting a warm glow over the quiet streets. The air was fresh, and the birds were chirping, creating a serene atmosphere. They followed the map, which led them through a series of winding streets and past a few old, abandoned houses. "Are you sure this is the right way?" Tom asked, squinting at the map. Sarah nodded confidently. "Of course. We're almost there. Just a little bit further." Lily, always the peacemaker, smiled. "I'm sure it will be worth it. I can't wait to see the garden." Finally, they reached a small, overgrown path hidden behind a tall hedge. The path was narrow and covered in leaves, but it looked promising. They pushed through the hedge and started down the path, their excitement growing with each step. As they walked, they noticed a small, abandoned shed at the end of the path. The shed was old and weathered, with a rusty lock on the door. It looked like no one had been there in years. "Should we check it out?" Sarah asked, her curiosity piqued. Tom, always up for a challenge, grinned. "Why not? It could be an adventure." Lily, however, was a bit hesitant. "I don't know. What if there's something dangerous inside?" Sarah put a reassuring hand on her friend's shoulder. "Don't worry, Lily. We'll be careful. Besides, we're in this together." With a deep breath, Lily nodded. "Okay, let's do it." They approached the shed, and Tom tried to open the rusty lock. It was stuck, so he used a small rock to pry it open. The lock finally gave way, and they pushed the door open, revealing a dimly lit interior. Inside, the shed was filled with old gardening tools, broken pots, and a few dusty books. As they explored, Sarah noticed a small, crumpled piece of paper on the floor. She picked it up and unfolded it. "Guys, look at this," she said, showing the paper to Tom and Lily. The paper was a note, written in a child's handwriting. "Help! My puppy is lost. Please find him. He's a small, white pug with a black spot on his ear. His name is Max. I'll give you a reward if you bring him back. Please, I miss him so much." Tom's eyes widened. "This is serious. We have to help find this puppy." Lily's heart went out to the child. "Per Max. Let's do our best to find him." Sarah nodded. "Let's split up and search the area. We can meet back here in an hour." They agreed and set off in different directions, each carrying a picture of Max that Sarah had found in the shed. Sarah went to the right, Tom to the left, and Lily straight ahead. Sarah walked through the nearby woods, calling out Max's name. She searched under bushes and behind trees, but there was no sign of the puppy. After a while, she heard a faint whimpering sound. She followed the sound and found a small, white pug with a black spot on his ear, trapped under a fallen branch. "Max, it's okay. I'm here to help you," Sarah said, gently lifting the branch and picking up the puppy. Meanwhile, Tom was searching near a small stream. He called out Max's name, but there was no response. He was about to give up when he saw a small, white paw sticking out from a bush. He rushed over and found Max, but he was already with Sarah. "Sarah, you found him," Tom exclaimed, relieved. Sarah smiled. "Yes, he was trapped under a branch. Let's take him back to the shed and find out who he belongs to." They met up with Lily, who was equally excited to see Max. They all returned to the shed and looked for more clues. Sarah found a small, worn-out backpack with a child's name on it, Ella. "Let's find Ella and return Max to her," Sarah said. They followed the path back to the neighborhood, asking neighbors if they knew an Ella. Finally, they found a house with a "lost puppy" sign on the front door. They knocked, and a young girl, no older than 10, opened the door. "Hello, are you Ella?" Sarah asked, Ella's eyes widened. Yes, I am. Did you find Max? Sarah held up the puppy. We found him. He was trapped under a branch in the woods. Ella's face lit up with joy. Oh, thank you so much. I've been looking for him everywhere. I thought I'd never see him again. She took Max into her arms, and the puppy licked her face, wagging his tail. I can't thank you enough. You've made my day. Tom grinned. We're just glad we could help. And don't worry, we're not here for the reward. Seeing you happy is reward enough. Ella hugged Max tightly. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. You're my new heroes. The three friends smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment and joy. They had not only found a hidden path and a beautiful garden, but had also helped a child and her lost puppy. As they walked back home, they felt a warm sense of satisfaction, knowing that they had made a difference in someone's life. Chapter 3: The Great Bake-Off. The next day, Sarah, Tom, and Lily decided to have a bake-off at Sarah's house. They had all been talking about it for weeks, and the idea of a friendly competition was too exciting to pass up. Sarah was known for her delicious chocolate chip cookies, Tom for his creative cupcakes, and Lily for her perfect apple pies. They agreed to each bring their best recipe and see who could make the most delicious treat. Sarah's mom, Mrs. Johnson, was more than happy to let them use the kitchen. She even offered to be the judge, along with Mr. Johnson and the neighbor, Mrs. Thompson. The kitchen was soon filled with the aroma of baking, and the air was thick with anticipation. Okay, everyone, let's get started, Sarah said, rolling up her sleeves. Tom grinned, already mixing his ingredients. I'm going to win this, you know. Lily laughed. We'll see about that. My apple pie is going to be the star of the show. The three friends got to work, each focusing on their own recipe. Sarah carefully measured out the ingredients for her chocolate chip cookies, making sure to use the best quality chocolate. Tom, on the other hand, was experimenting with a new cupcake flavor, combining vanilla and lemon with a hint of lavender. Lily was busy peeling apples and rolling out the dough for her pie, her kitchen skills impressive as always. As they baked, they chatted and laughed, enjoying the process as much as the end result. Sarah told a funny story about the time she accidentally put salt instead of sugar in her cookies, and Tom shared a joke about a baker who couldn't bake a straight line. Lily, always the peacemaker, kept the mood light and positive, making sure everyone was having fun. After an hour of baking, the kitchen was filled with the delicious smells of cookies, cupcakes, and pie. Sarah's cookies were golden brown and looked perfect. Tom's cupcakes were beautifully decorated with a lavender frosting, and Lily's pie was golden and flaky, with a perfect lattice top. Wow, you all did an amazing job, Mrs. Johnson said, inspecting the treats. This is going to be a tough decision. Mr. Johnson nodded in agreement. I can't wait to taste them. They all look so good. Mrs. Thompson, the neighbor, was equally impressed. You three are quite the bakers. I'm sure this will be a close competition. The three friends set up a small table in the living room, arranging their treats on plates. They each took a seat, eager to see who would be the winner. Mrs. Johnson, Mr. Johnson, and Mrs. Thompson took their places as judges, ready to taste and evaluate the treats. Let's start with Sarah's chocolate chip cookies, Mrs. Johnson said, picking up a cookie and taking a bite. These are delicious. The chocolate is rich, and the cookies are perfectly chewy. Mr. Johnson nodded. I agree. They're fantastic. Mrs. Thompson took a bite and smiled. These are some of the best cookies I've ever had. Sarah, you did an excellent job. Sarah beamed with pride. Thank you. I'm glad you like them. Next, they moved on to Tom's cupcakes. Mrs. Johnson picked up a cupcake and took a small bite. The combination of vanilla and lemon is wonderful, and the lavender frosting is a nice touch. It's a unique and delicious flavor. Mr. Johnson nodded. I agree. Tom, you really outdid yourself with these. Mrs. Thompson smiled. These cupcakes are a delight. Tom, you have a real talent for baking. Tom grinned, feeling proud of his creation. Thanks, everyone. I'm glad you enjoyed them. Finally, they tasted Lily's apple pie. Mrs. Johnson took a bite and closed her eyes, savoring the flavor. This pie is absolutely perfect. The apples are sweet and tender, and the crust is flaky and buttery. Lily, you've outdone yourself. Mr. Johnson nodded. I couldn't agree more. This pie is amazing. Mrs. Thompson took a bite and sighed contentedly. This is the best apple pie I've ever had. Lily, you're a true baker. Lily blushed. Thank you, everyone. I'm so glad you like it. After tasting all the treats, the judges took a moment to deliberate. The kitchen was filled with a tense silence as the friends waited for the verdict. Finally, Mrs. Johnson spoke up. This was a tough decision, but we have a winner. The winner of the Great Bake-Off is Lily, with her perfect apple pie. Lily's eyes widened in surprise. Really? I can't believe it. Thank you, everyone. Sarah and Tom clapped and cheered, genuinely happy for their friend. You deserve it, Sarah said, giving her a high five. Tom nodded. Absolutely. Your pie was amazing. Lily smiled, feeling a warm sense of accomplishment. Thank you, guys. I couldn't have done it without your support. The three friends sat down to enjoy the treats, laughing and chatting about their baking adventures. They agreed that the real winner was their friendship, and that no matter who won the competition, they had all had a fantastic time. As they finished their snacks, they started planning their next adventure. The day had been filled with fun, creativity, and delicious treats, and they were already looking forward to the next exciting chapter in their friendship. Chapter 4: The Haunted House Mystery. The next weekend, Sarah, Tom, and Lily were sitting in Sarah's living room, flipping through a magazine about local attractions. They came across an article about an old, abandoned house on the outskirts of town. The house, known as the Mystery Manor, had a reputation for being haunted. According to the article, strange noises and eerie lights had been reported by several people who had dared to venture inside. Sarah's eyes widened with excitement. Guys, we have to check this out. It sounds like a perfect adventure. Tom, always up for a challenge, grinned. I'm in. I've always wanted to explore a haunted house. Lily, however, was a bit hesitant. Are you sure it's safe? What if there really are ghosts? Sarah put a reassuring hand on her friend's shoulder. Don't worry, Lily. We'll be careful, and we can always leave if we get scared. Besides, it could be a lot of fun. Lily thought for a moment and then nodded. Okay, let's do it. But we should bring flashlights and maybe a camera to document everything. The three friends agreed and planned to visit the Mystery Manor the following evening. They packed flashlights, a camera, and a few snacks, just in case they got hungry during their exploration. As the sun began to set, they set off on their adventure. The air was cool, and the sky was darkening, adding to the eerie atmosphere. They followed the directions in the magazine and soon found themselves standing in front of the old, abandoned house. The house was large and imposing, with broken windows and a creaky front door. The yard was overgrown, and the path leading to the house was covered in leaves. Wow, this place is even more spooky than I imagined, Tom said, his voice tinged with excitement. Sarah nodded, her heart racing with anticipation. Let's go inside and see what we can find. Lily, still a bit nervous, took a deep breath. Okay, but let's stick together and be careful. They carefully opened the creaky front door and stepped inside. The interior of the house was dark and dusty, with cobwebs hanging from the ceiling. They turned on their flashlights, and the beams of light illuminated the old, worn-out furniture and the peeling wallpaper. Look at this place, Sarah whispered, her flashlight beam dancing across the room. It's like stepping into a different era. Tom, always the jokester, pretended to be scared. I hear something. Do you hear that? It sounds like a ghost. Lily laughed, her nervousness easing a bit. Tom, you're so silly. There's probably just a draft or something. As they explored the house, they found old photographs, dusty books, and even a few antique toys. Sarah picked up a faded photograph of a family, wondering about the people who used to live there. Imagine all the stories this house could tell, she said, her voice filled with curiosity. Tom, meanwhile, was exploring the kitchen. He found an old, rusted pot and pretended to cook, making Lily and Sarah laugh. Ghost food. Anyone? He joked, holding up the pot. Lily, feeling more at ease, started taking pictures with the camera. She captured the eerie atmosphere of the house, from the dusty rooms to the creaky floorboards. As they continued their exploration, they heard a strange noise coming from the basement. It sounded like a faint whisper, and it sent a shiver down their spines. Did you hear that? Lily asked, her voice trembling a bit. Sarah nodded, her flashlight beam steady. Let's check it out, but be careful. They cautiously made their way to the basement door, which was partially open. Tom pushed it open, and they descended the creaky stairs, their flashlights illuminating the dark, damp space. The basement was filled with old boxes, broken furniture, and a few cobweb-covered crates. Maybe it was just the wind, Tom said, trying to sound brave. As they explored the basement, they found a small, hidden room behind a stack of boxes. The room was tiny and filled with old, dusty journals and letters. Sarah picked up one of the journals and began to read. Listen to this, she said, her voice filled with intrigue. It's a diary from someone who lived here a long time ago. They talk about strange occurrences and unexplained noises, just like the ones we've heard. Tom's eyes widened. This is amazing. We might have found the source of the ghost stories. Lily, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness, took more pictures of the journals and letters. We should take these back and read them more carefully. There might be more clues about what happened here. After a thorough exploration, they decided to leave the house and return to Sarah's house to read the journals and letters. They carefully packed the items and made their way back through the dark, eerie house. As they stepped outside, the cool night air felt refreshing. They looked back at the Mystery Manor, feeling a sense of accomplishment and curiosity. That was an incredible adventure, Sarah said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Tom nodded. I can't wait to read those journals and find out more about the house's history. Lily smiled, feeling proud of their bravery. We did it, guys. We explored a haunted house and even found some interesting clues. I'm so glad we did this together. The three friends walked back to Sarah's house, their minds racing with the possibilities of what they had discovered. They settled in the living room, eager to uncover the secrets of the Mystery Manor and continue their adventure. Chapter 5: The Secret Garden. The next day, Sarah, Tom, and Lily were sitting in Sarah's backyard, sipping lemonade and enjoying the warm sun. They had been talking about their recent adventures and were already planning their next one. Sarah, who had a green thumb, suggested they explore a hidden garden in the neighborhood that she had heard about from her grandmother. Grandma told me about a secret garden that's been forgotten for years, Sarah said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She said it's filled with beautiful flowers and has a magical feel to it. We should go find it. Tom, always up for an adventure, grinned. A secret garden? That sounds amazing. Let's go. Lily, who loved nature, nodded enthusiastically. I'd love to see it. It could be a perfect place to relax and enjoy the beauty of nature. They agreed to set off the next morning, each bringing a small backpack with snacks, water, and a camera to capture the beauty of the garden. The next day, they met at Sarah's house and set off on their quest. They followed the directions Sarah's grandmother had given her, which led them through a series of winding streets and past a few old, abandoned houses. Finally, they reached a small, overgrown path hidden behind a tall hedge. The path was narrow and covered in leaves, but it looked promising. "This must be it," Sarah said, pushing through the hedge. "Let's follow the path and see where it leads." They walked down the path, their excitement growing with each step. The air was fresh, and the birds were chirping, creating a serene atmosphere. As they walked, they noticed that the path was lined with wildflowers, and the scent of blooming flowers filled the air. After a few minutes, they came to a small, wooden gate. The gate was old and weathered, with a rusty lock that looked like it hadn't been opened in years. Sarah used a small rock to pry open the lock, and they pushed the gate open, revealing a beautiful, hidden garden. The garden was a sight to behold. It was filled with a variety of flowers, from roses and daisies to sunflowers and lilies. The colors were vibrant, and the air was filled with the sweet fragrance of the flowers. In the center of the garden was a small, stone fountain, and a few benches were placed around the perimeter, inviting visitors to sit and relax. "Wow, this is even more beautiful than I imagined," Sarah said, her eyes wide with wonder. Tom, always the jokester, pretended to be a gardener. "Welcome to the secret garden. I'm the head gardener, and I'll be showing you around." Lily laughed, her heart filled with joy. "This is magical. I can see why Grandma called it a secret garden." They spent the next few hours exploring the garden, taking pictures, and enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. Sarah found a hidden bench under a large oak tree and suggested they have a picnic. "Let's sit here and enjoy our snacks," Sarah said, spreading out a blanket on the bench. Tom, who had brought a bag of chips, offered some to his friends. "Who wants some chips?" Lily, who had brought a fruit salad, added, "And here's some fruit." It's the perfect snack for a sunny day. They sat on the bench, enjoying their snacks and the beauty of the garden. They talked about their favorite flowers and shared stories about their childhood memories of gardening. "This is so peaceful," Lily said, closing her eyes and taking a deep breath. "I could stay here forever." Tom, always the jokester, grinned. "We could, but then we'd have to become gardeners." "I'm not sure I'm ready for that." Sarah laughed. "We can always come back and visit. This place is too beautiful to forget." As they finished their picnic, they decided to explore the garden further. They found a small, hidden pond with a few koi fish swimming in it, and a small bridge that led to a secluded area with a wooden swing. They took turns sitting on the swing, enjoying the gentle breeze and the peaceful surroundings. "This is the perfect place to relax and forget about the world," Sarah said, swinging gently. Tom nodded. "I agree. We should come back here more often. It's like our own little paradise." Lily smiled, feeling a sense of contentment. "I'm so glad we found this place. It's a reminder of the beauty and peace that can be found in the world." As the sun began to set, they decided to head back home. They took one last look at the garden, feeling a sense of gratitude for the beautiful place they had discovered. "That was an amazing adventure," Sarah said, her eyes filled with joy. "I can't wait to tell Grandma about it." Tom grinned. "And we should come back soon. There's still so much more to explore." Lily nodded, her heart filled with happiness. "Absolutely. This is a place we'll always remember." They walked back to Sarah's house, their minds filled with the beauty and magic of the secret garden. They knew that this adventure would be one of their most cherished memories, and they were already looking forward to the next exciting chapter in their friendship. Chapter 6: The Beach Adventure. The following weekend, Sarah, Tom, and Lily decided to head to the beach for a fun day of sun, sand, and adventure. They had all been talking about it for weeks, and the idea of a beach day was too exciting to pass up. They packed their beach bags with sunscreen, towels, snacks, and a frisbee and set off early in the morning to beat the crowds. The drive to the beach was filled with laughter and anticipation. Sarah, who was driving, turned on the radio, and they sang along to their favorite songs. Tom, always the jokester, made silly faces at Lily, who laughed and played.